Hey everybody, this is Diane. As you may know, I have been spending this week cleaning and organizing my house, including areas in my craft room and office. And as I was putting away some laces and things, I thought maybe I should do a video showing you how I store my huge supply of laces and trims and things like that. So I'm going to attempt it. It will involve moving around my room, and also I'm going to try to put this camera on the tripod so I can sit at the end of it and show you some of my baskets of goodies. So first of all, this is my main desk where I sit. Most of my videos are done right here, and up above me are some shelves. I'm moving slowly so I don't make anybody dizzy. You can see empty spaces up there, and that's where these baskets belong. I brought them down here so I can show them to you. This large basket is where I keep some upholstery, trims, and fringes and things like that. So let me just, as we go, I just want to show you some of the assortments that I have. So there's some fringy stuff. This is actually a block of muslin strips, cotton strips, that I can peel off and use. I forget it's up there sometimes, but that's where I keep it because I didn't know where else to put it. So fringes that I don't use a lot, and they're good for boho journals and domestic arts journals and larger journals. I don't like to overwhelm a small journal with these. Sometimes they work on a smaller journal, but that's just that's how I work. And then I have this braid. It's not a braid. I use it for making snippet rolls. Got it on clearance at Hobby Lobby. I have a basket here, or a tray here, that has some twines and baker's twine and fibers and things like that. And then there's a box of embroidery floss. This was my mother's box and this was her embroidery floss also. And this is a basket that I just added to the collection. I mean, I had the basket, but I repurposed it to use for my trims and things, because I added all these new sari silks that I just bought in that video I just showed you. And then I have this, it's an old sewing machine drawer, and I have my seam bindings in here. And I will go down the table. So here is my sewing machine, and I don't have shelves above my sewing machine. I wish I did, but I don't. But I do have some baskets hanging on some command hooks. So this basket has pom-pom trim. I used to have it in a drawer, but I don't use pom-poms that often, and it was taking up precious drawer space, so I had the idea to just put it in a basket and hang it on the wall. And it looks fun. I think it's a fun element too. And right next to it is a basket of eyelet trims. I'm not going to take that one down, but there's a lot of eyelets in different sizes, colors, widths, gathered, ungathered. And if you're curious, the other baskets these are fabric strips and, fabric yo-yos. Okay, and then there is a shelf on this wall. And these are trims that I didn't want to put in my drawers. You'll see my drawers of lace storage in a bit. But I didn't want to put these in there because they have all these dangly pieces that would get bent up and creased. So I just lay them nicely on that shelf. I will fix that. I didn't lay them up there nicely this time. And then I have my two glove boxes. Sorry for the shadow, but I have that light on there. That glove box and that glove box, and they just hold, they're vintage of course, and they just hold small pieces of lace. Just so you know, while I'm working on a project, I have this basket, which is right now containing fabrics and ribbons and things for Christmas journals. It's just patiently waiting for me to go back to my Christmas journals. And then I have this basket with ribbons and trims and rickracs and things for whatever current project I'm working on. Okay, now, next to the sewing machine, I already have my tripod set up here. It's all ready for when I want to put the camera on it. But this little drawer here has rickrack. All my rickrack is in there. And I think that's all the laces I have in this unit. I used to have more, but I rearranged things before. This pretty drawer unit, I have shown you this before when I did a tour of my room, and it is all laces and trims except for at least one drawer of fabric. So in this drawer, and I got this at Michael's, I think, is some wider spools that I have to lay flat because they don't stand up. And this drawer has rosettes and ruffles. I don't see it. Oh, here's a ruffle. And this, specialty type of, it's kind of like a vinyl, and I don't use it. I forget it's there. But I get into this drawer when I want my rosettes and things like that. This is my spools mostly from Hobby Lobby. And these can stand up on end and still fit in the drawer. And in here I keep all the GIMP trim that I find at flea markets, and people have sent me some. Mostly I find it at flea markets, and I also have tapestry and woven belts in here that I can use for closures and things like that. Oh, and I also have some really wide rickrack because it didn't fit in the rickrack drawer. Here's where I have some fabric. This is the really wide lace. Most of it is very wide lace. So when I need I keep going off to the side. I am very sorry. When I need wide pieces of lace, I look in there. And here I have all kinds of laces and trims wound around cards and pinned. And I prick my fingers in here quite often. But this is the easiest way for me. I don't like it when my... I've seen people where they put their laces and things in like a big jar or something, or a basket, and I like mine to be all wrapped around something so I can see what I have. It just depends on how you like to work, and this is what works for me. So it does take time to organize them this way, but I think it's worth it. Most of these laces were purchased at flea markets or sent in Happy Mails. These are not new purchases of lace. And I have more here. So I've had 2 drawers of lace on cards for a long time. And then I got that great big box of lace on Labor Day. And this is what I kept of the laces from that Labor Day box. And I had muslin pieces and like a solid white and muslin pieces down here. But I had to remove them so I could put some lace in here. These are all laces from Labor Day, and I love them. But I think I will be going through all the laces again and trying to fit everything back into 2 drawers, which means I will have to do some destashing, but I don't know when I'll get to doing that. I don't need to have this much lace on hand, but those new laces I really wanted to keep. This is what I want to go through, sit down with you and go through. I have these baskets stacked on the floor. I would prefer that they were on a shelf. They used to be in my other house. They were on a shelf above the sewing machine, but I don't have those shelves anymore. So I just stacked them here. There are pieces of embroidered linens, little pieces, and these are kind of lace appliques and some snippet trims, some lace fabric type of things, and I think there's something underneath the lace fabrics and netting down there. So I just want to be able to go through some of those with you, so we'll sit down and do that. Here, this isn't really lace, but this is where I keep some crochet pieces. Little doilies that I cut apart, slightly bigger ones, and there's tatting in this drawer. And then slightly bigger ones. And then one more tower, and this one has a basket of ribbons. Everything is just spread out around this room. Just ribbons there, and a drawer full of trim, braid trim. Let's go through. Let's look at some of this. So I've got that. Some really gorgeous ones in here. I just picked this up at Walmart on clearance. I love it. I wanted this to go with a special project, the French Provincial fabric bundles that I did. These colors were perfect, and it was so expensive. But it was $4.44 for, I think, 2 yards. But I finally bought some and cut it into small pieces and put it in the bundles. And now it's on clearance for $2, so I bought one. But you can see how I have them wrapped around cards too. Most of them, not all of them. There's just some really pretty pieces. Some of these I bought at flea markets, and some I got from Eva. She sent me some, and I know I've gotten other pieces in Happy Mails. I am so blessed by my friends who send me things in Happy Mails. And then this drawer, I think this is the last one, has embroidered ribbons. Just beautiful. These will be great for boho journals. And these I have ordered, and velvet ribbons too. I have ordered a lot of these from sources like eBay or Etsy. Sheila Gingrich, I got some from her, this boho stuff, some of it. And my satin ribbons are in here. Silk ribbons, I mean. So I think that is that. I just want to sit down with you and show you how I divide things up into those baskets. So let me see if I can put you on the tripod without making you dizzy. That was pretty good, right? Okay, the bottom basket is this one. And this one is netting. I haven't renamed my labels because I want to make sure this is going to work for me. I mean, it was set up like this pretty much, but I just yesterday redid the baskets that are on the floor. This is a large piece of tulle. I got a huge hunk of tulle at the flea market, and I do have it cut up into pieces to put in my shop, but I kept one piece. You can see how big that is. Stuff that in the bottom. But I have this really soft blue one, and this like a 4 or 5 inch strip of one, stiffer one. This one is kind of a grayish color, and it has, I thought it was just blue lines on the tulle, but it is blue stitching. These are little strips sewn together. Somebody sent that to me, I'm pretty sure. And I have black netting, very soft, very small mesh. Just a small piece of that. I don't use a lot of black. And this kind of a shimmery, and you get the idea. This is from a handkerchief, or not a handkerchief, but it was from something. It's a square. Maybe it was just a doily to put on a table, but it's mesh. It's netting with a crochet around it. So I put it in here. This does not go there. This is very vintage, and I love cutting out pieces of this and using it in clusters. And this is part of the same thing, I think. And then we have this hot pink. So that's one basket. And this basket has fabric laces in a variety of colors. I'm going to move that a little bit. Those are very vintage ones there. And this big piece. So I have it in pinks. I don't need to go through every single piece, but you can see I have it in different colors, different styles, different sizes of fabrics, and some very vintage pieces like these. I even have brown lace and yellow. This is pretty vintage. Some black, blue. And then underneath all this lace fabric are sheer fabrics. And I don't use the sheer fabrics a lot, but I wanted to keep these, and that's kind of a satiny fabric. For when I do want them in clusters or bases, or there's a floral sheer. This one has embroidery on it. I just wanted you to see how I divide up my pieces. This one is, I got this one this summer at a flea market, and it's, I think, maybe this was in a Happy Mail. I just got it anyway this summer. It's a circle, and it's sheer, and it has this sheer ribbon around it, so I put it in here. Or not sheer ribbon, but lace. And this sheer printed piece, really beautiful. And then there are just some fabrics down here. So I had to combine. Some of these were in separate. There's some, like a shantung silk almost, I think. I'm not sure. And so these are just specialty fabrics. This is cotton, but it's embroidered with a cut work and some lines. This is a very old piece of linen, and I decided to put it in with the specialty fabrics because it is a fabric. I would use it as a fabric, so that's where I would look. And sheer fabric that's very wide, lace that's wide. So I hope this gives you a good idea of how you can divide up pieces. I have a large quantity of these things. I know I do. So I need to have a good system, an orderly system, so I can find what I'm looking for. And you know, if you watch my shop much at all, my channel, you know that I put a lot of this stuff in my shop. So I find a lot of linens and laces and things at flea markets. And I get a lot in Happy Mails. So I share both the stuff that I find and the stuff I receive, and I keep some of it. This little box has these beautiful lace applique pieces. I got these at a flea market, not this summer, but last summer. I love them, and they're pretty colors. There's a lot of pink and then some very pale mint green. This is a bigger piece, and some white, but there's a piece that's just the seafoam or mint green. I just need to remember that they're there. And these I really love with the peach and the green. I think I got this in a Happy Mail. It looks like irises. But they don't all have to be these big appliques. Sometimes these big pieces are hard to use. I would probably end up cutting them. But I have other pieces that are like a lace piece that are conducive to being cut into small pieces, so I could use that as a lace applique. Some are already small pieces. This is a crocheted piece, but I could treat it as a lace applique because that's what I would have to do with it. This one was already cut, so these are the leaves that got left behind. Just a piece of lace that would work as an applique. And the same with this. I don't even think this should be in there. I'm going to put this in the drawer with the wide laces. I have these hearts that I could cut apart, and I have cut them apart and used them. And this piece, and this. There's lots I could cut off of that, and I have used that piece. These are some snippet rolls that I received in a Happy Mail, and I think I made this one with that stuff I showed you in the first basket that goes on my shelf. I just don't use snippet rolls that much because I don't think about it. But I have some there, and I can use them. This beautiful old crocheted piece. And some smaller appliques. So, and this is just a piece of lace that I could cut apart. And I have this in various colors. But seeing this in this basket would remind me that I have all those other colors in one of those drawers. So you see I have lots of small pieces I can use, and this is gorgeous. And this is a ribbon with some beaded leaves, ribbon flower. And one more basket to show you. These are just pieces that I cut off of embroidered linens. So this was a baby quilt with these little tiny flowers. So I would probably cut those flowers and use them in small pieces, or I could use this as a large piece somehow. I have quite a bit of that. I've used a lot of it in different projects. And this linen, I could cut that up and use it in small pieces. That's why it's in here with the small pieces. There's some strawberries there. I should just cut them right out and put them with my strawberry stuff. So just small pieces of linen that have embroidery that I can use for small accents or clusters. This just has a border trim. I had used the rest of the embroidery on that piece, whatever it was. So you get the idea here. It's just embroidered linens. Love that. So I know I am fortunate to have all these goodies, but I do work hard for them, unless somebody sends me a Happy Mail. But going to the flea market and, you know, I purchase them and then I have to wash them sometimes and sort them and cut them and store them. So it's a lot of effort that goes into this collection, but I sure love having it. Also, on my table here, behind my sewing machine, I have a spot where I can put some things. So I have this little pencil box that has tiny pieces of doilies that I cut apart. So when I need a tiny doily, I can look in here. I have to organize it again. I had them in nice little stacks. They don't stay that way. Anything else back here I need to show you? I have fabric flips in a box back here. And, oh, I have these appliques and sequins in here. What's that? Oh, that's an applique. So, lots of appliques, ribbons that were tied into bows. And these all came from Happy Mails and flea markets. Even the sequins came from flea markets. So I just keep that back here where I can grab it. A lot of this stuff, I keep saying I don't use it a lot, but I do use these sorts of things continually. Always using laces, trims, and whatnot. But I might forget that I have a certain type of thing for a while. Oh, I had these. I have it over here. These are Tim Holtz stitched scraps, and I got them on half price at Joann's, so they were pretty cheap. But I got them, and I keep them here by my sewing machine so I can remember to do it. But to take little scraps of plain fabric and just do some colored stitching on them, because I think that would be just a fun thing to add to a page. And after I make some of my own, I can use these. And here I have a pile of fabric flips that I have pinned together and are waiting to be sewn, so I can put them in my fabric flip box. So these are just generic ones that my basket of scraps. Look at that, it's time to make some more. I think I have some bigger pieces in there than should be. They should go in that drawer of fabric. But this is what I make fabric scraps from, along with the bigger pieces from that drawer. And I have a little one of tiny pieces to accent, and then I have this with little bits of lace that I use on fabric flips and clusters. So I have things pretty divided up, and it might seem like it's complicated to you, but that's what works for me. I have to have things organized or I don't work well with it. I am going to have to do something with that because it won't sit back on the shelf. So I hope this wasn't too confusing, and if you think it's too complicated, that's fine, because you have to do it the way you would do it. And this is just the way I like to do it. I hope that you found something useful in this video and found it interesting to see how I store my pieces. I hope you could see well enough. It looks kind of dark on the camera. But I appreciate you stopping by to check out this video for me, and I will see you in the next one. Have a creative day today. Bye-bye.